Are you tired of growing little onions like this? What if I told you you could grow big onions like this with just a few tips? Stick around, we'll show you how. Hey everybody, Doug Crock Gardener here. We have successfully grown big onions like this from seed in our backyard garden. How did we do it? There's three main tips I'm going to focus on to get huge onions like this and prevent you from growing these little onions like this. This thing's bigger than a softball. It's about the size of my head. Tip number one, you want to make sure that you get the proper type of seed. Now, I mean the proper type of seed because there are three different types of onions that you can buy. You got your long day, your short day, and your intermediate day. There is actually a map, we'll put that up, and this map shows you where the long day onions are at, the short day, and the intermediate day onions are located. I'm in the intermediate / long day onions variety, so I can grow either or. Do your research on this map and see where you're at. The next thing you want to look at is the type of onion that you're going to be growing, the variety of the onion that you're going to be growing. This right here was a Eliza Craig from Baker Creek Seeds or rareseeds.com. Now I grew this guy because it said it was going to produce big onions. It said that specifically on the description of the seed packet. So that's one thing you want to look at is look at how big of onions that you can grow. If you really truly want to grow a big onion, choose a variety that's going to be big. Now there's other things you want to probably look at on that seed packet too is the longevity of the onions. These only really last about a month or two after they are harvested. They don't have a good shelf life. I've grown some others that have a good shelf life of up to about 6 months. So keep that in mind as well. Those are going to be a little bit smaller. Now that you got your right seeds on your seed packet, you want to make sure that you're doing the proper timing of it. Onions do take a lot of time to grow, especially to get this big. So you guys want to start those seeds in early. In Zone 6B, where I'm located at, I started my seeds in mid to late December. This gave them plenty of time for the seeds to grow and get big before I had to put them outside. So when you're starting these seeds out, you can simply take them and sprinkle them across the seed tray. Don't worry about spacing them out or anything until they have sprouted. Then after a few weeks, you can take those seedlings and you can transplant them far enough apart so that they can start developing a good bulb and have some good space. And while these seeds are coming up, don't forget to keep them moist. Also, give them plenty of light. I usually use about 16 hours underneath my grow lights per day for these onions. Once these little seedlings get about 4 inches tall, you can give them a little haircut on top, trim them down to about 3 inches. What this will do is it'll put more energy into the bulbs, into the root system, so you'll have a healthier plant before you bring them outside. Bringing the seedlings outside is also a very important step. When you do this, you want to make sure you do this at the proper time, and you also want to make sure that you are hardening off these seedlings first. If you need to see a video on hardening off seedlings, check out my video I have on hardening off plants. This applies to onions, this applies to tomatoes, peppers, whatever you have. So after you bring them out and you have had it hardened off for about a week or so, you want to bring them into the ground. And you want to do this planting time about maybe 3 to 4 weeks before your last frost date. This year, my last frost date was about middle of April. So I did this to middle of late March. So I got them in the ground. Yes, it's still gonna frost. You might have a little bit of a freeze, but these onions are gonna be hardy and tough and they can take it. And they'll rather be outside than inside in your grow room after you get them hardened off. For the large onions, you're gonna wanna place these suckers about 4 to 6 inches across. Remember, your seedling's probably gonna be about as thick as your finger. Look how big that is right there. You're gonna need more space. So if you have two of them next to each other, you don't want them buttoned up next to each other. So give them plenty of space, plenty of room to grow. Also, when you plant them shallow so that just barely the roots are covering it. You wanna be able to have the onion bulb sit on top of the soil. This will encourage a better growth for the bulb. The next aspect of timing is gonna be harvesting. Make sure you get your onions harvested at the right time. If you're gonna eat your onions early, you can harvest them as soon as the bulbs get as big as you want. You don't want to harvest them this big though. Once they get as big as you want and you want to save them for long-term storage, wait till the tops flop over a little bit and then they just start turning yellow. Then that'll be the sure tell time it is time to harvest your giant onion bulbs. Last but not least, you want to grow these huge bulbs, you got to think about your garden and your nutrients that are in there. Your soil is going to be a #1 priority for you. Onions are huge feeders. They need a lot of nitrogen, phosphate, potassium. They'll eat up all of that that is in your soil. So make sure you start them out right. Amend your soil bed before you start. If you have to, get a soil test so you know what's in your soil. When you're starting them out, when you first plant them, definitely give them a good heavy dose of nitrogen. That nitrogen will help those green tops grow, and once those green tops grow, they'll start working on the bulbs. And like I said as well, don't forget your potassium or your phosphate. They love these nutrients as well. Fertilize about every 2 to 3 weeks, and make sure you keep that soil nice and moist. You don't want the soil drying out. The onions do like a lot of water because they do have a real shallow root system. The root system doesn't go down very deep, so if your bed gets dried out, the onions are going to dry out with it. So make sure you keep up on your watering. To help out with your watering, I definitely recommend mulching. I use comfrey leaves in my garden to mulch. What do you guys use? Leave me a comment down below. Mulching will keep the soil nice and moist, and it'll also break down and provide more nutrients for the onions later on the season, as well as it'll suppress weeds, so that you don't have weeds taking up any of those nutrients that you put down into the soil earlier in the year. So by following these 3 simple ideas in your garden when you're growing onions, you can go from this to this. Isn't that fantastic, guys? Now is your time to start the research. You're going to be getting into the cooler months here pretty soon. Get your seed packets while you still can with the onions. If you have to order them now, go ahead and order them. December is going to be right around the corner. Also, now is a fantastic time to be ordering things because a lot of things are on clearance because we are heading into the winter and people want to clear out their shelves for the winter. So if you guys like big bulbs, onion bulbs like this video. Leave me a comment down below. Are you growing bulbs like this? Are you growing bulbs like this? If you like seeing these little grow tips like this, subscribe to the channel, click that bell. Cheers everybody, and God bless.